Last year, Rishi Sunak vowed to crack down on low-value rip-off degrees. By this, he meant the arts and humanities. Now, as a student of solely humanities subjects, I found this particularly upsetting. It was a repetition of the rhetoric I have continuously heard since I made it clear I had no intention of following in my engineer parents' footsteps. Only this time, it wasn't just a hurtful passing comment from one of my dad's colleagues. What will you do in the real world? How will you get a real job? This time, it was my Prime Minister, condemning my decisions. It's exhausting, constantly having to defend the subjects that I love so much from people who genuinely believe STEM subjects are the only ones worth anything. I find people tend to be a little more accepting of English literature and history, but for some reason they can't quite understand why I would study classical civilizations, because it doesn't matter, right? Well, this is my attempt to show you that it does, even in the 21st century. Just before I start, classics is, in a broad sense, the study of the ancient Mediterranean, with a particular focus on ancient Greece and Rome. Now, I could spend my 5 minutes talking about transferable skills, the fact that a study of classics gives you the ability to research, question, analyse, interpret, and argue, talents of growing importance, especially in the face of things such as AI. But whilst these skills are important, they're not why classics is important to me. I find myself on the verge of laughter every time someone asks me why I would study a subject that has no relevance to the 21st century, because all you have to do is look. It exists in the buildings we walk past every day, the books we read, the shows we watch, the art we admire, the laws we live by, and above all, the languages we speak. I would love to tell you that the salad is named after Caesar. Unfortunately, it isn't. But the next time you nearly throw your phone across the room when your alarm goes off at 6 a.m., remember to blame Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher credited with inventing the world's first alarm clock. Or when you next go to the theatre, remember it and many of its genres wouldn't exist without the ancient Greeks. The themes of Greek and Roman stories can still be found in Hollywood and far beyond today. Wonder Woman, the DC superhero, is an Amazon, a warrior woman from Greek mythology. In December, Disney released its adaptation of Percy Jackson, which follows the stories of the children of Greek and Roman gods in the modern day. And Another One Bites the Dust by Queen is a reference to Homer's Iliad, where soldiers are described as biting the dust on the battlefield. The ideas and icons of the classical world can be found everywhere, across every topic imaginable, and they're interwoven into the cultures and traditions of not just Europe, but many other places that were influenced by Greek and Roman rule. I'm not here to convince you that classics matters because it's a superior subject, the study of a superior society that forms the basis of Western society, because it's not. It doesn't. That was the belief some 500 years ago, and it's an argument that has been used to justify far-right beliefs for a very long time. The use of classics to justify things such as racism and misogyny is a whole new TED Talk in itself. But how can we possibly begin to combat its negative use without first understanding it? A study of classics was the basis of education in Europe for centuries. The majority of European intellectuals wrote and discussed some of their most influential theories and ideas in Latin. Everything from political theory to science was developed into what we know today from the works of ancient authors during this time. Even the Renaissance, which I'm sure you have all heard of, was at the time widely considered to be the rebirth of ancient Greece and Rome, and its impact on the modern world is undeniable. I know it may seem trite to discuss the impact that ancient history has had on the rest of history, but we cannot underestimate the power that history has over us. There is a reason the Taliban moved to destroy ancient monuments so quickly upon their takeover of Afghanistan. These monuments hold stories that give people hope, because if it was a certain way 2,000 years ago, why can't it be that way again? New histories of the classical world are being written every year, and I'm sure a few of you have noticed the recent increase in mythological retellings being published over the last few years, particularly feminist retellings. Take, for example, Circe, Ariadne, or The Silence of the Girls. This recent reappearance of classics isn't the first time it's happened. Throughout history, we have found ourselves returning again and again to these stories. Their incredible malleability allowed Shakespeare to subtly comment on the social and political state of his time, in the same way we can see a reflection of our time in modern adaptations. From an indication of the feminist movement sweeping across the globe, to comments on the state of politics, the metaphor of the ancients always has, and always will, provide a safe space for us to express our beliefs. But perhaps, aside from everything else, it is simply enough that I deeply love classics, and it is so deeply ingrained, we couldn't erase it if we tried. Just turn to the person next to you and ask them, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? The answer might surprise you. According to my engineer father, at least 2 or 3 times a day. Thank you.